You've probably seen butyrate supplements all over the internet. Gut health has become a buzzword, but do you really need to take it? I'm Erin Harner, integrated registered dietitian nutritionist and gut health IBS and SIBO coach, and I help women who are struggling with chronic digestive issues finally feel better. In this video, I'm going to explain what butyrate actually is, what it does in your gut, and when it makes sense to supplement versus letting your gut bugs do the work and make it yourself.
Butyrate can be helpful to take, but we need to understand what it is and what it does before we even think about adding it to our supplement plan. So butyrate is a short-chain fatty acid, and basically what that means is certain fibers our body can't digest and break down, okay? So our body can't digest and break them down. I'm thinking things like resistant starches or certain soluble or insoluble fibers, mostly the soluble fibers. So our body can't break them down. So what happens to them? Our gut bacteria go to town breaking them down. And when we feed it certain fibers, resistant starches, or even polyphenols, we can produce something called butyrate or in other short-chain fatty acids. There are others, propionate, acetate, valerate, but the real star of the show for the gut is really butyrate. So it's a short-chain fatty acid. So being an acid, it helps to keep the pH of the gut in a range that helps beneficial bacteria thrive. So that's one of their functions. Another thing that butyrate does is it provides a fuel for the gut lining, particularly the colonocytes, or those little cells that line the colon. Those are called colonocytes. And butyrate is produced in the colon, not the small intestine. So all the microbes in the gut, some of them, not all of them, some of them are going to break down the fibers and produce short-chain fatty acids. The star of the show is butyrate. So that's where the story starts here. Butyrate feeds the gut cells, the colonocytes. It also has anti-inflammatory action in the gut itself. And also it can go into systemic circulation. It can get absorbed through the gut cells, sent into systemic circulation, and be a systemic, meaning your whole body, anti-inflammatory compound. One of the most powerful anti-inflammatory compounds that could circulate your body is butyrate. And this is produced by a couple main players of bacteria in your gut that break down certain fibers and turn them into short-chain fatty acids. So those two main players, the two main butyrate producers in your gut, are Faecalibacterium prausnitzii and Rosburria. And this matters because if you don't have these bacteria in your gut, they can't produce the butyrate. Right? So this is where the interaction of the food we eat with our gut microbiome, who's there, what are they doing, what's their function, really helps lead to health or disease. Right? If we don't have Faecalibacterium prausnitzii or the Rosburria species, specifically Rosburria hominis and Rosburria intestinalis, we can't make one of these most anti-inflammatory compounds in our body. And there's a lot of associations with the type of diet that supports these specific species, and that's really important. So Faecalibacterium prausnitzii is one of them, and it's one of the most abundant beneficial species in a healthy colon. So if you have a healthy colon based on a healthy diet without a ton of antibiotics and eat a wide variety of plant foods and all the stuff, limit antibiotics, fermented foods, so there's lots of fiber, there's lots of things that we can do to support a healthy gut and a healthy gut microbiome. So this one is one of the most abundant, and it's one of our biggest butyrate producers. It's known for its strong anti-inflammatory effects. It also helps keep the gut lining intact and reduces inflammation in the gut itself. So Faecalibacterium prausnitzii thrives when you feed it fermentable fibers. The insoluble fibers that don't ferment, those are not that helpful. It's really the fermentable fibers that are going to be most helpful to feed this one. Things like resistant starches from green bananas, green banana flour, potato starch, cooked and cooled potatoes, oats, plantains. These are all going to be amazing to feed Faecalibacterium prausnitzii so that it produces butyrate. The next one is Rosburria. These help regulate the motility and maintain a healthy colon pH, which is really important for keeping the bad bugs at bay and the good bugs thriving. So we want to make sure that we feed Rosburria as well. So they love diverse plant fibers, lots of different vegetables and fruits, legumes, and whole grains. These are amazing for Rosburria. And the butyrate it produces is also going to help with motility. So if everything's moving through too slowly, it can help speed it up. If everything is moving through too fast, it can help slow it down a little bit. So butyrate actually helps regulate motility, which is one of its key factors in the gut. Also, if you're low in fiber or you're on antibiotics or you have gut dysbiosis or an imbalance of your gut bacteria, butyrate production actually drops, right? So if you don't consume enough fiber, you are on antibiotics because you're killing off the bacteria, the butyrate production drops. Or if you have not enough of these two main players like Roseburia or Faecalibacterium prausnitzii, your production of butyrate is going to drop. So bottom line, should you take butyrate? It's really personal and it depends on who's in your gut and what are they doing. So if you don't have enough of these keystone commensal microbes, might be helpful in the short term until you can feed enough fibers and resistant starches to get the butyrate production going again. But that's a bit of a slow process. So sometimes we can shortcut that slow process and help with things like motility by adding in a little bit of butyrate short term versus long term. So that's my 2 cents with butyrate. You don't fix a low butyrate problem with a capsule. You fix it by feeding the right bugs the right foods so it can produce your own butyrate, like a little butyrate factory in your colon. So that's how I typically think about butyrate, but can be helpful short term in certain situations.
If you're ready to finally figure out what's driving your gut issues, I want you to take my free gut clarity quiz. In just a few minutes, we'll help you better understand what's going on in your gut and what the best next steps might be, whether that's switching up your diet a little bit, calming inflammation, or booking a call with me to dig deeper to really understand what's going on and how to best fix it. The link's below this video. If you've been nodding along, this next one's for you.